Venezuelan opposition leader has spoken out. Venezuelan opposition leader has called for the release of political prisoners in Caracas. Venezuelan opposition leader Corina Machado's movement has called for the immediate release of political prisoners following the U.S. abduction of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro. The entire Venezuela movement said these unjustly detaining civilian and military political prisoners must be freed at once. This, of course, is the big story we are tracking for you. A big statement being made by the opposition leader in Venezuela, Professor Latham. Machado coming out now and calling for the immediate release of political prisoners in Venezuela.
Yes, well, it gets at a slightly bigger issue, which this taps into, which is what is the future for Venezuela, and what role will Machado or Rodriguez or anybody else be playing in this? And there are only really four scenarios, one of which is that the regime continues doing what it has been doing, and it's business as usual, thumbing its nose at the United States. The other one, a second one, is that the regime remains in place as a client-based kind of kleptocracy, but it gets rid of the Chavista, Hugo Chavez dimension, and does business with the United States, expels the Chinese and the Russians, allows American oil firms to invest, that sort of thing. The third scenario would be a restoration of democracy. Machado comes home, wins the election, everything is wonderful going forward. That's the preferred option for a lot of people. I think it's not terribly realistic, but it's on the table. And the final scenario, which I see as complete chaos, everything falls apart, civil war of the kind we've seen elsewhere around the planet in recent decades, that's the least desirable. The most desirable outcome, and Machado will not have much of a role to play in this, is that Rodriguez leads this regime into a reform that is and takes Venezuela in a direction that Donald Trump is happy with.
Okay. In fact, we're learning now that Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro's wife has arrived in court in New York City wearing bandages on her face and complaining of bruises on her ribs. According to a lawyer, attorney, veteran prosecutor Mark Donnelly told the court that Celia Flores suffered significant injuries when U.S. forces raided the couple's compound in Caracas on Saturday. Donnelly has requested that Flores receive a full X-ray to determine whether she fractured a rib in the incident. Flores was already wearing two bandages on her face, one on her forehead and another above her eye. Ajay Jandial is joining us for more on this story. Ajay, Nicolás Maduro's wife claiming to be injured?
Yes, that is what appears, because when she appeared in the court, she was having bandages on her face, and she seems to be injured. And the situation basically went turned, volatile as far as Venezuela's, America's attack is concerned. Definitely, there are possibilities, because number of loss was taking place at that time. We have seen that how horrible things was, and that could be the reason. But yes, she seems to be very injured during that operation.
All right, Ajay, I appreciate you joining us with those details. Also, thanks to our other guests who joined us earlier. Slipping into a short break on that note.